This is the 2024 Volvo XC90 Recharge. Is it worth your consideration? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I'm at Volvo Cars of Shreveport, and we're going to go over the particulars on this model. As always, if you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video. And as we take a look at the front end, it's going to have that classic Volvo look that goes back quite a long way. It still has a nice modern look to it, but when it pulls up behind you or you just see it somewhere, you know that it's a Volvo, especially based on that grille setup right there, the way it's designed, the Volvo logo, everything right there. It really has a nice look to it. LED headlights will definitely help you out with driving down the road after dark, and all-wheel drive will help you out with driving down the road in all sorts of driving conditions, whether it's wet or snow or ice or whatever the case is. That's a good thing. Let's talk about our tire and wheel setup here. So we're gonna have 275 on our width, a 40 series sidewall wrapped around the 21-inch wheels. And something that you may not have seen before, it's not new, it's just that I know over here at Volvo Cars of Shreveport, I haven't seen the orange remote, but it's been around for quite a few years until just recently. So you've got your black remote or your orange remote. All of the controls are on the side as far as everything you need to do. Nothing on the face of the remote other than a logo, a very clean look. But that way, if you have more than one driver, it's very easy to keep up with who is using which remote. Power adjustable side view mirrors with turn signal indicators built in, body colored on the mirror caps. We're gonna have our blind spot monitoring right here. That makes things very easy to deal with. And we're gonna have our roof rails up there. As we work our way around to the rear, we finish things off with the classic look again of the taillights here. It still seems to look very nice and very modern, but tell me what your thoughts are where that is concerned. And something that I really like here is that you're going to find a hands-free experience with this tailgate. So if you don't want to use the remote or other options, well, you can use your foot right there. Very easy to deal with. But the big thing that might surprise a lot of people are the numbers that we talk about when we open the hood. To recharge your XC90 Recharge, well, there is the port to do that. You'll just pull that cover off right there and you're ready to plug in and start charging. Under the hood is the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder paired to an electric motor. 455 horsepower and 523 pounds-feet of torque, all of that mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. And how about mileage? Let's start with the MPGEs, 58 MPGEs combined. If you're on electric only, 0.1 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven and 55 kilowatt hours per every 100 miles driven. Over here on the other side, when we go gas only, we're looking at 27 miles per gallon combined and 3.7 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And the good thing about that is that unlike a full EV, you don't have to really worry so much about whether or not you have enough charge capacity because you still have your gas tank here and it will hold 18.8 gallons of gas. You can tow up to 5,000 pounds and cargo capacity ranges between a low end 11.2 up to a maximum 85.7 cubic feet. You can see that I have all of the seats folded down. This is a 7-passenger model, by the way, in case you were curious about that. You'll find a 12-volt power outlet right here. That's going to make things nice and easy to deal with as far as powering different things you might need back here. You'll also find cargo lighting. Really a very nice vehicle as far as a multitasker goes, but there is one more way that you can take advantage of the middle row compared to what we have right now. And what exactly am I talking about? Well, it's the fact that you have a pass-through. So basically you can lower one of the 3 different seats in that area depending on what you need. So there is a lot of configurability and options as to how you can set up the cargo area. And for those of you saying, well, Tom, show us how to lower that middle seat and use it as a pass-through. It's just as simple as pulling on the release right here. And you'll have to pull on that release again to put the seat back up into position. And the way you lower these seat backs down is going to be to pull up on this lever, and then once again you'll have to pull up on that lever to put your seat backs back in place. And let's talk about what your rear seat passengers will find. The armrest is pretty comfortable, I would say. The door bins, maybe not the largest you're going to find, but there is room for a large bottle and a few little items right here. And you can see that these middle row seats can move back and forth. So that does increase leg space for rear seat passengers, although it is rather cramped back here depending on where things are. You can see the difference in the seating locations. Probably better for the kids, but in a pinch, the adults can definitely sit back here with no problem. And you'll have the panoramic sunroof. That front portion in this area will tilt or slide open. And obviously the power shade can be drawn forward on those really hot days to help manage the temperature here within the interior. And speaking of that, for rear seat passengers, they can manage the temperature and fan speed back here no problem whatsoever. You actually have 4 zones of climate control, 2 in the front, 2 in the rear, heated outboard seats, something we definitely do not need right now. And a couple of USB options as far as connectivity goes. We'll also find the fold down armrest with the cup holders built in. When the cup holders are not in use, just hide them away like that. Very easy to deal with. And for those who have been patient and watched throughout the entire video, what is the sticker price? $76,430. As I mentioned earlier, you do have the power shade. I drew that forward just so you could see that. And over here on the driver's side door, we won't find this on the passenger side, only on the driver's side, but there is your seat memory. Got 3 different settings there, and your door lock controls, windows, all that stuff, everything for controlling the positioning of your side view mirrors. That is how you unlock your gas door right there on the right-hand side of the vehicle. As you noticed earlier, all I had to do was walk up and push the door for the charger or for the charging port, and then you can control the power tailgate right there. Navigation right there, easily displayed and easy to see for the driver. Right on the instrument cluster, a nice look, that's for sure. And the steering wheel mounted controls. I'm not sure how those are going to hold up over time to fingerprinting because of the finish, but maybe not too bad. Over here, we control the exterior lighting on the XC90, and you also control this one thing that a lot of you love to conserve, your blinker bulbs. Over here on the right-hand side, well, I can't say anything funny or sarcastic about that, at least nothing that I've figured out yet, but that's how you control your wipers for the vehicle on the front and rear windows. And here is an area where I think a lot of people are maybe hoping for some changes in the future, but in my opinion, once you get used to it, this infotainment screen is not that difficult to use. And one thing that has really improved the user experience of this infotainment screen is that you have Google Assistant. So you just say, hey, well, you know who, I don't want to set off devices in your homes. So I'm not going to say that right now, but you know what I mean. And there's so many different things you can ask, very easy to deal with. Now, you can control, or the only way you can control the air conditioning is going to be here in the screen, fan speed, temperature of your two zones of climate here in the front. And you can also turn on the heated steering wheel or heated seat for the driver. And then over here, you can also turn on the heated seat for the passenger. So not too difficult to deal with or figure out. Very easy to learn. You also have multiple views with the camera. That isn't the only view, the rear view right there. Let's go right here and we can take a look at everything else that we have. When you're ready to go back, you're just going to touch the screen, touch right there in the center, and you can go back. And you can see basically every potential angle possible. There's your front camera, pretty easy to deal with. And when it comes to driving, here's where you're going to come. We just went into settings. All I did was click the gear icon or touch the gear icon right down there. And there are our driving modes: hybrid, power, pure, off-road, and constant all-wheel drive. That's going to be your snow mode ultimately if you need to deal with that. For those of you who deal with snow and ice on a regular basis, a pretty simple system to use and learn. You've got your lane keeping aid, you've got road sign information, and ready to drive notification. I guess that's when you aren't paying attention and it lets you know it's time to go. Some of these drivers around here definitely need that. And down here we're going to have the good old-fashioned control for the radio. There's your knob to turn on the radio to adjust the volume, and you can obviously adjust your stations right here. And you can see some of your other one-touch features here. Pretty easy to figure out. A very nice shifter here because it just fits so snugly in the palm of your hand to go into park. We're going to push that button right there, and this is the ignition right here. So you just turn that to turn the vehicle on or off. Your foot will need to be on the brake. And right here we have a few things concealed away, cup holders, a power outlet right there, and we'll take a look inside of the center console. Not the most space I've ever seen, but there is a little bit of space there. And your upper console and the controls and features found here. So here's what you're going to do. There's really not a button here for controlling the sunroof. You just swipe back. That's going to allow the shade to go back into place. And then when you swipe back again, that's how we open the sunroof. And then obviously you just repeat the process in the opposite direction to do the opposite to close everything. And we'll also find grab handles at all 4 doors. That way, when you drop the hammer on 455 horsepower, as we're about to do, well, there are oh crap handles for your passengers. By the way, there are parking sensors here. You'll notice that the camera came up. I'm driving up to this pole in front of me. Let me see if I can get it to go off. There we go. Maybe you heard that, maybe you didn't. I don't want to get too close and actually hit it, but you do have your parking sensors as part of your safety features. All right, here we go on our test drive. Let's see what happens when we drop the hammer. You know, the funny thing about stepping on the pedal here is that it's really not that impressive of an acceleration experience, but then you look down at the speedometer and think, uh-oh, I better get on the brakes, I'm way over the speed limit. So a little bit deceptive where that's concerned. Kind of interesting how that works. A fairly decent sized vehicle will sometimes do that for you, as opposed to being in a smaller vehicle that's low to the ground. But that's the experience, so it is fun to drive, that's for sure. Great handling characteristics, as you likely would imagine. And depending on where you live, well, you can always take advantage of the all-wheel drive, so get around some of the slower moving traffic. And there we go. Now we're taking advantage of the power that's available. I like that. Kind of easing into the pedal that time really woke it up a little bit more than the first time I dropped the hammer. So that's what we have. But overall, a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. Comfortable driving experience. And one thing I did not mention earlier, I forgot about, is the fact that you do have a tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. At the price point of this XC90, I am surprised that it's manually adjustable. Seems like there should be some kind of a power button here for a power adjustable steering wheel, but that's not what's here. But overall, easy to see out of. You do have your blind spot information there if you need it, and all those great driving aids that this model comes with. There's a lot going on here. It's a great daily driver. Definitely a lot of room in the first and second rows. The third row, maybe not so much, but I don't think that's a surprise most of the time, unless you go with a full-size SUV such as a Suburban or a Yukon or an Expedition. You're not going to find quite as much space in the third row. So just kind of the way it goes with things, but a very well-rounded vehicle in a multitude of ways. I know the XC90 is overdue for a full redesign. Tell me what you would like to see change when that time comes. Okay, tell me what your thoughts are on the 2024 Volvo XC90 Recharge. Is it worth your consideration? I'm always curious to get your feedback. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Volvo Cars of Shreveport for loaning me this XC90 for the day. And a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That's very helpful to me. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.